Hi guys, welcome to my channel. I am Aranas, a postgraduate medical intern. I basically provide informative videos to medical students. And also, I would like to give aspiring Filipino physicians an idea of what a med student usually tackle in med school. If you find these videos helpful, please don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel and click the notification bell to be updated for my new videos that I'll be uploading every week. For today, I'll be discussing the clinicopathologic correlation of leptospirosis. This disease is spread through the urine of infected animals, which can get into water or soil. And there are many different kinds of wild and domestic animals that can carry the bacterium. And humans can become infected through contact with water, soil, or food contaminated with the urine of infected animals. The bacteria can enter the body through skin or mucous membranes, such as the eyes, nose, or mouth, especially if the skin is broken from a cut or scratch. Drinking contaminated water can also cause infection, and outbreaks of leptospirosis are usually caused by exposure to contaminated water, such as floodwaters, and uh, there are recorded person-to-person transmission. However, that is rare. This is very important for us to discuss the CPC of leptospirosis because this is very prevalent in tropical and temperate countries. And Philippines has a lot of cases of this disease. I would just like to shout out to Ara Diocos for helping me out in creating this CPC. I'll be discussing each of these sections one by one. So let's start. Here are the important risk factors that we have to consider in patients with leptospirosis. Occupational hazards, such as farmers and veterinarians who are predisposed to exposure to the urine of infected animals. And the most common correlated risk factor for leptospirosis is wading in flood water. And if these risk factors are present, there's an increased likelihood of contact with water, soil, or food contaminated with the urine of infected animals, such as cattle, pigs, horses, dogs, rodents, and other wild animals. With such exposure, there is an increased likelihood of infection, and once infected, it would trigger inflammatory responses, increase in neutrophils, macrophages or monocytes, and dendritic cells. Let's go first with increase in neutrophils. This would trigger the increased release of cytokines and interleukins, which would be manifested in our patient as fever and diarrhea. This now would cause an increased fluid and electrolyte loss, which would ultimately lead to dehydration. And then as for macrophages and monocytes, the leptospires would still persist the ingestion and killing of these macrophages. Thus, there would be immune evasion. And further, infection would lead to endothelial leak and hemorrhage, which would lead to leptospires to disseminate. And as for the dendritic cells, the body would compensate by intensifying its immune response. Thus, there would be an increased number of dendritic cells. Let's proceed with leptospires dissemination. First off, in our sclerae, this would be manifested as conjunctival suffusion. In the mucous membranes, manifested as epistaxis or gum bleeding. In the lungs or alveolar airways, we would have alveolar hemorrhage. Could be manifested as hemoptysis, crackles, and tachypnea. And in the heart, this would be manifested as myocarditis. I would like to focus on its effect in the kidneys and the liver. As for the kidneys, the leptospires would colonize the brush borders. and that would trigger acute interstitial nephritis. And this would decrease plasma oncotic pressure and increase the plasma volume. This would lead to the net movement of fluid into the interstitial tissues, leading to the manifestation of bipedal edema. And lastly, for the liver, the hepatocytes would be damaged, leading to focal necrosis, decreased synthetic function of the liver, and also disruption of the intercellular junctions between the hepatocytes. Thus, there would be an increased bilirubin leak, and this now would be manifested as jaundice in the skin, icterus in the eyes, and dark yellow urine. I would like to end this presentation by saying that we need a government that listens, responds, and truly cares for the Filipino people. This is our call for time out. Thank you for listening and have a good day.